everyone, my name is Morgan Hughes and I am a musical theatre performer. So as part of Finding Your Future, I'm partnering with DFN Foundation and NSEF to tell you about what I do for a living, as well as share some motivational tips and some advice as how to stay on your pathway to employment. So, a musical theatre performer. So that means I sing, I dance and I act. Sometimes all at the same time, sometimes some singing, sometimes some dancing, but all the time acting through everything I do. So mostly I am a storyteller. So I've been in various different shows and performances. I've been performing from a very young age. So I've done shows as Hairspray, I've done pantomimes, I've done performances at opening ceremonies. So I did NFL and the FA Cup final and various other things that I've done. So basically what it means is I sing, dance and act for a living. So that is my job, and it's something I've always wanted to do since I was a little girl. And to me, it doesn't feel like a job. It feels like just my really, really fun hobby that I happen to get paid for. So the hardest bit of my job, is auditioning. So you do 10 or more than that auditions before you actually get a job. So I went to a musical theatre school when I was 18 called Performers College. So even before I went to this school, I had to audition for lots of schools to see if I was good enough to get in. So I auditioned for Performers, I auditioned for Bird, for Erdang. So the audition process is you go, you do singing, you do acting, you do a lot of different dance rounds, and then you find out if they're going to offer you a place on the course or not. And I was lucky enough to be offered a place at Performers College, where I did 3 years of dance and musical theatre training, which was very, very, very hard. Long hours. We'd be going into college from 8 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night, and it was very difficult, but it was worth it. The training was amazing. I made the best friends, and I've learnt the skills that I needed to learn to go into my industry. So when I was graduating college, I was like, this is it, I need to find a job. So you get an agent. So you send off lots of emails, say, look, please be my agent, and they'll say yes or no. So I was lucky enough to get my first agent, and then I started auditioning for different things. It took me a while. I started auditioning in the May time, and I got my first job in the October. So my first job when I graduated college was the musical Hairspray, and it was on Royal Caribbean's Symphony of the Seas. So Symphony of the Seas is a cruise ship, and on this cruise ship they have this massive Broadway production of Hairspray, and I was lucky enough to be cast in that show. I auditioned, obviously. It was 5 days of auditioning, very, very hard, but I got cast. So I was told you'll be going to rehearsals in Miami. So I went to Miami. We did 3 months of rehearsals. So we only had 1 day off a week. I learnt lots and lots and lots of new skills because I did flying, so with harnesses and in a hoop. I obviously was learning all my harmonies, all the different parts of the show, and we were working with amazing people. Our choreographer is from America, and he's a Broadway choreographer and a Broadway performer. Our director is massive in London, so it was just a great opportunity to work with these people. So we learnt all the shows, and we were like, yeah, excited to get on the ship. But of course, we did realise, the people who've done it before, but there was a lot more that goes into working on a ship than what goes into just doing a normal show. So we had to also be able to do all the training and everything we needed to be going on the ship. So we had to do safety training, we had to do Save the Waves training, we had to learn all about the ship, everything. So I on the ship was a performer, but my first duty before performing was safety, because safety is everyone has to do it. So I was in charge of a passenger station which means that if there was an emergency, I would have had to have rounded up the passengers from my station, told them all the information, let them know what was happening, and then guided them to the lifeboats. So every single week we did a drill of this, a practice, and we also spoke to the passengers and explained, this is where you'll be coming. So this was a big challenge for me. Although I've done loads and loads of performing, I've never actually done public speaking. And public speaking is very different to performing, because you perform, you've got a costume on, you've got a wig, you've got makeup on, and you're thinking, oh, it's not really you who's on the stage, it is you, but you're playing a character. But when you're speaking to people normally, as yourself, I find it so much more intimidating, because they can just see who you are and you're speaking to them. So that was something that I really had to practice and learn on, and it was a big challenge for me to do that. But I managed to, by the end of the contract, so easy, I'd go in, speak to everyone, and it was fine. So that was one of the things I had to do on the ship. So when I was on the ship, I worked, typically I did 6 shows a week. So I did 1 show a night, and then on one night I did 2 shows. So I had 5 days working and 2 days off. The show was an hour and a half long. We had to be there an hour and a half before for a warm-up, for makeup, for do your hair and everything, to get ready for the show. And then typically after the show it would take me about half an hour to get changed, sort out all my costumes, sort out my wigs after the show. So the whole process was probably about 4 hours long. So we worked for about 4 hours a day on the shows, which doesn't seem like a long time, but doing a show really takes it out of you. It's really hard work. The sweat was dripping off my face, but it was so worth it. So worth it. So that contract lasted a year, and I made the best friends I've ever made. They were from, half of my cast were from America, and the other half of my cast were from the UK. And I actually flew out to America after the contract had finished to see my American friends again. That's how good friends I made. So I was lucky enough to be asked to go back 6 weeks later to fulfill a different role in the show, which was really great, so much fun. I went out for another 2-3 months, and then I got back and I was suddenly back in the auditioning game again. So I did a lot of auditions. I was getting all the way to the end of the audition and then not hearing anything, or I'd be getting 2 rounds in and getting cut, and it was just so difficult because I'd come from such a high doing a show all the time to suddenly being back having to do different jobs that were good but I'm not passionate about, and I was auditioning. I was lucky enough to get Panto this Christmas, so that sort of tided me over to now. Panto was really good fun. It's a great introduction for children to theatre. I'm sure pretty much everyone has seen a pantomime, but not everyone's seen a musical. So it's great opportunity to show people who wouldn't normally watch musical theatre what storytelling and musical theatre is all about. So what is the funniest thing that's ever happened to me at work? Honestly, so many different things. I've fallen over on the stage, my wig's fallen off. I think a performer can say there's honestly thousands of things that happen, and you're like, oh no, what's just happened? And then later you can laugh about it. So what advice would I want to give to people going into this profession? You have to be able to work really hard. You have to be able to deal with rejection, and have to remember that you love what you do. You do it for a reason. You do it because when you go onto the stage, you absolutely love it. And they're the 3 things: hard work, dealing with rejection, and absolutely loving what you do, because that's the most important thing. So I really hope you enjoyed me talking about this. I'm sorry if I spoke a bit fast and wanted to get everything in. So thank you for watching. Please pursue your dreams. If you don't pursue them later in life, you'll think, what if I did that? What if I could have done that? And you'll never know and you'll regret it. So please pursue your hopes and dreams. If you have any questions, please find us on Twitter or LinkedIn and Facebook with the hashtag Finding Your Future and tagging DNF Foundation. Thank you. Bye bye.